Pledge allegiance. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't touch it, it goes by itself.
You've all had a chance to look at the agenda, any additions, corrections, or conflicts of interest? If not, the agenda will stand approved as printed. We move on to the reading of the minutes.
March 31st, 2026, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 a.m. with Craig Dozark, Chair presiding. Members present were Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, Hayden, and Rosberg. Minutes of the previous meeting were read, corrected, and approved. The board recognized hiring Richard Rasmussen, a seasonal part-time grade crew employee, Mitchell Schwartz, seasonal part-time ditch crew, West employee, Barry Jurgensen, seasonal part-time motor grader operator, Kay Blanc, regular part-time engineer's office employee, Bernice Nissen, seasonal part-time roadside employee, Charlie Gatto, seasonal part-time roadside employee, William Blanc, seasonal part-time bridge crew laborer, and Damon Ellers, seasonal part-time truck driver, gravel haul in the engineers department. At 10 a.m., a motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Hayden, to open the public hearing for the reclassification of 230th Street between H and G Avenue from an area surface road B to area service road A. There were no written or oral objections. Motion passed unanimously at 10:02. I think that was sorry. No written or oral objections. At 10:02, a motion was made by Rosberg, seconded by Mulbauer to close the hearing. Motion passed unanimously. There was an extra motion passed unanimously in that area because you can't take action during an open hearing. So we will edit that and make sure that extra motion wasn't in there. Because it didn't happen that way. It just was added for some reason. A motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Schultz to approve the following resolution. Crawford County Resolution 2026-15, reclassifying secondary road area service B road to area service A road. Voting aye, Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, Hayden, and Rosberg. Motion passed unanimously. The motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Rosberg to approve the proclamation for April 2026 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Crawford County. Motion passed unanimously. Kurt Miller, Hoffman Agency, presented the board with the 2025 values of machinery insurance. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Hayden to approve the machinery valuation insurance. Motion passed unanimously. Kurt Miller, Hoffman Agency, discussed with the board insurance deductibles. No action was taken. Keep the deductibles where they are currently. Zach Rasmussen gave the board an EMA update. Zach discussed with the board the EMS task force presenting names for the MSAC. No action was taken at this time. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Hayden, to approve tax abatement for 2815 Highway 59, Dennison, Jason Rasmussen, new home. Motion passed unanimously. Martha Sybil, Assistant County Attorney, discussed with the board the All Rise Conference and reimbursement funds. No action was taken at this time. Motion was made by Mulbauer, seconded by Hayden, to approve the following resolution, 2026-16, a resolution dissolving the Crawford County Compensation Board. Voting aye, Schultz, Mulbauer, Dozark, Hayden, and Rosberg. Motion passed unanimously. On motion, duly second, the board adjourned at 11:37 a.m. Agendas for the next meeting are posted and available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:03 p.m. preceding the next meeting. Then March 31st, 2026 hearing at 5:30 p.m. as advertised. Craig Dozark, Chair, presiding, opened the public hearing regarding the proposed property tax. There was one written statement. 4 citizens attended in person. Motion passed unanimously. What motion?
Just
There was
the
no
motion to come out of the public hearing, and then we adjourned.
There wasn't a motion. to
There
approve
wasn't.
anything.
There was a motion at the end to close the whole session because you opened the
I
hearing.
opened the hearing. We didn't have a motion to open the hearing. I
There
just
was no-
opened the hearing. Because I talked to Colin before and I just said, hey, do we have to have a motion to go into public hearing? Since it's the only thing on the agenda, or can I just open it? He said, it really doesn't matter, Craig. And I said, okay, I'll just
Okay.
open it. And then we need a
And then
motion
there
to
was a
come
motion at
out
the
of the
end.
public hearing, and then a motion to adjourn.
Okay, well, again, there's an extra motion to pass that passed unanimously in the middle of this. We will edit that out of there because there wasn't one in the middle of the session. So there were four citizens attended in person. There were questions asked about levy rates, revenue for the county, economic growth, and the future of Smithfield. At 6:24 PM, a motion was made by Hayden, seconded by Rosberg to close the hearing. Motion passed unanimously. On motion duly seconded, the board adjourned at 6:24 PM. So that's where that happened.
Yep.
This motion is erroneous. And there was another one. Erroneous that we will edit.
So given those corrections, any other additions or corrections to the minutes?
Sounds good.
If not, they'll stand approved
Two
as,
lines for you to sign, right one
Okay.
above each other.
will stand approved as read. Move on to board supervisor reports. Start out with Jean.
There we go. Get it over with. That's good. I had a early childhood Iowa meeting, and the meetings get longer because our discussion always has to be depending on funding. So it was hard to approve the grants that were presented, and they are the grants that we normally would just approve, but we had to approve them pending funding. And so, a lot of them are HICM's program and lower income school, BV. So I'll pass those around just so you can kind of see who's applying. We did make a motion to approve those to let them know that, our board is in favor of those grants, but we're not sure what funding is going to look like. So that is hard to do sometimes, to keep everybody kind of hanging in limbo depending on funding. Seems to be the answer to every one of these agenda items. But the other thing that we did do is we had a motion to have Annette write a letter to the state showing our interest in combining some of the counties so that we would have more say in how we kind of would like that to look depending on funding. And so the motion would be that as long as it doesn't hurt our local ECI agencies, we wouldn't want to do it. But I wanted clarification on exactly what counties they were, because what they referred to was the lake area, because they certainly currently don't have anybody up there as their director. And then the counties that Dawn has. And so it was Lyons, Dickinson, Beebe, Sac, Crawford, about 9 of them that we would, if we could get ahead of it and kind of pick our district rather than being dictated to, we would like to kind of get that, because it's coming. And so why not kind of say who we'd like to work with, because we're familiar with that. But the letter needed to say, as long as it doesn't hurt our local agency, that we don't get enough funding to take care of all of that. Funding was the headline of our conversation, but otherwise we're doing good budget-wise as far as on budget with everything, and just keep moving away from programs that we don't think are going to get funded. So I can pass all this around except for this. Nobody wants to read that. So, yeah, so applications are still coming in. I did talk to Taya to kind of see how things are going over there in our program. And she said they're having walk-ins come in asking questions. They do have 2 that are eligible for the transportation because they were current patience and able to just do it here in Crawford County. She's going to be here in May to give us a full update with data, including data. She is doing everything she can think of to get the word out. She's talked to the paper. She's been on KDSN Rotary or KDSN radio to talk to Hope Propane Hank. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that because I missed it. She's been out to the hospital and talked to the staff about what information she has to make sure that they know someone comes in that has, could benefit from the program, to send them her way. And she's also scheduled to come talk to Rotary. So she's really getting the word out there. On the 17th, we will have that trailer that we all helped fund. It'll be here at the Methodist Church. And it's, gonna have some vending fairs, and we're gonna, not sure if we're gonna sell or give hot dogs or walking tacos. I'm in charge of water. I got that.
That's April 17th.
April 17th, yes. I have a flyer that I was gonna see if I could send to Megan and get printed so we can hang
What's
it
that
up here. Hidden in plain sight, the trailer that we helped a little bit of our opioid money, so it'll be here in Denison.
Pretty neat.
Camper.
Yeah, camper, yeah. So, yep.
Sure, a lot of the stuff that she brought to us will be in
Right,
there.
it's gonna be in there. No children can go in the trailer, no teenagers. It's not about that. Showing-
Operational security.
Yeah, pretty much. We're looking forward to getting that out there. Wesco is going to be involved in bringing their staff up so that they can kind of, see what's out there that could be being hidden if they're not noticing. I think we have about 5 vendor booths that are going to be there. So we're working on that, having it be a successful program. And I will see if we can get one of the flyers printed this morning and get it hung out here. So other than that, other than a few phone calls about, I think that the misconception is that the supervisors have approved the EMS, that we've already approved that. And so it's a lot of explaining out exactly what's going on there, but all good conversations. So that was pretty much my week.
I've been in touch with Amy Truckee
Yeah.
about the 17th,
Yeah.
about having us supervisors pop popcorn.
Oh,
So is this all gonna be the same?
right.
Okay. I was gonna talk about that. so-
I'm only in charge of water, so I guess you don't want to.
Is it all out in the parking lot?
I think
Or
so,
are
yeah.
some of the vendors
So
in
I
the
think there
church?
could be some inside, depending
Okay.
maybe on weather. I think
Cool.
ideally it would be outside, but April
Parking
17th.
lot.
Parking lot.
Where?
Methodist.
Methodist report.
By the library.
We're just gonna have to get one of these popcorn poppers on wheels.
I
Maybe a
really-
food trailer popper.
I think we should step up our game on popcorn because people really do enjoy it, and it gives us an opportunity to give back to our community a little bit by, so.
Seems
that
like
would
we're
be fun.
becoming,
With that, Kyle, we'll just move over to you.
well,
There we
I
go.
guess we
That's
were,
it.
she kind of took a lot of the words right out of my mouth.
So, thank you for letting me go first.
So,
Yeah.
Amy is in charge of,
Amy Truckee with the public,
oh,
she's a home health hospice and that,
Okay.
she invited us as a board
Yep.
to be there from 2 to 6. I don't know necessarily the whole time,
Nope.
but just like to have support of the supervisors there. And then last night, she said, well, emailed me again, so maybe it wouldn't hurt to have you guys pop popcorn.
Just trying to get some interest, just.
And I get it, I think it would be a great idea.
Yeah,
She's, I don't know what kind of mess that'd make or how to set that all up, but.
if it's outside, it's no mess at all. It'll go away.
other than the popcorn.
extension cord.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
I
that's
got
why
a
we talked about it today, but it sounds like we just gotta fit it in somehow to make it work.
I'll already be there, so
Okay.
it'll be good.
I can make it.
I'll get the flyer pulled up and we'll get it printed, so we have.
So do we have still boxes of
I
popcorn?
don't know that. We'll have
Let,
to
you
look
know,
and see.
where would I go to, where would we go to look? Where
They
would we
would-
store it?
I think they'd be down on that cart where
Okay,
the popcorn popper is.
okay.
Wish we had a bigger pot.
Does Crawford County have a bigger one? Okay. I don't know.
United Bank of Iowa used to have a pretty good sized one that we used out at the fair every year, and it was pretty good
But
size.
you do have it dialed in to.
I know, yeah, we can scale it up if we had a bigger popcorn. It's not
Good.
that hard. It only takes a batch or 2 to figure out the
Right.
correct measurements. I'll see if we can come up with something, but I think we should participate in that.
Are you gonna print off that flyer for us?
I'm going to try to find it.
Don't
It's
send
here.
it to Megan. She's out of the office today. Send it to me and I'll get it after
Okay.
the meeting.
All right, Thought I had it printed, but I must have forgot.
And,
What's new?
other than that, I didn't have, other than that, just trying to really concentrate on finding the right people for, I don't want to say our representative, but the representatives of the citizens on the EMS Advisory Council. Reaching out to, made several contacts. None that were wanting to do it. I mean, I've had some ones that I thought were going to, but then now I don't want to risk my business or whatever.
Exactly.
So I respect that,
Yeah.
you know, I said, I respect that. Or they said, I don't have a commitment of time, or what I said, well, we need time commitment, we need.
This time of year, it's hard to get someone from the farming community
Yep.
to say, I'll commit when.
But we'll talk
You know how
about
busy
all
they are
that
in the
later,
spring.
so, I mean,
The one person I called was really interested, really wanted to do it, but he has relatives that work at the hospital and just felt that could appear to, have him be a little
Conflict.
biased and so conflict. So, but he was,
so I think that's key, we wanna have somebody that's maybe not tied to either association, clean of a cut as you can,
Absolutely.
But it's a very thoughtful.
taxpayer, yes, that understand, but anyway. No, just happy for the rain. No matter how cold or whatever, moisture's moisture.
We didn't get, I mean, where did the snow end up last night? How far south did it go?
Not very far south.
Not very far south of the snow.
Just looking at, Iowa Farm Bureau, what could we do as supervisors to promote water quality? I mean, it's becoming a pretty big buzzword, and a lot of our gubernatorial candidates are using it as their campaign. And we don't have a lot other than promoting farming practices or, we don't have funds.
Buffer strips and stuff, but I mean, you think like the hog facilities, they kind of contain their own cells, and
I mean, Ty, I kind of deem you as our water expert, if you can be, but I mean, do they measure water quality in Crawford County? I mean, has that ever been an issue that you're aware of?
Obviously, they keep track of the nitrates and all that stuff.
For DMU does,
But I
right?
don't know that I suspect if you have city wells, that has to be legally be managed. So they know all those things, but we don't really have any official tracker to report to this board.
I mean, you guys that live out in the country,
We could send Terry Kersey out and test some random wells, right?
I mean, that have wells, is there a requirement that they be tested every so often? I don't think that there is, as far as
No, I had
my dad and grandparents living on the farm having a well water. I don't remember anybody ever coming out and testing the water.
That's a great point. And you remember Linus having his thing and he's talking about his neighboring farmers. I wonder if they've ever had their wells tested,
Or if somebody set aside a little money to have some wells tested, or just have Terry do it, I don't know. I'm just trying to.
Right.
Great.
I mean, that's
Maybe it's something we invite and have a initial meeting with like Rural Water or DMU and Kerry Kersey and ourselves.
Yeah.
And just have what do they think? So we're all on the same page.
I mean, it's not so we have to spend a bunch of money on, just show that our taxpayers that, we are listening to what's being, and we are concerned. Our cancer rates seem to be pretty high in the state.
Kyle, though, I was doing some research on that, and our farmers' cancer rates are lower than other people's in the state.
Well,
Isn't that interesting?
I mean, that's an
I know we
argument
want to blame the farms, but really, is it that? I think there's a lot of contributing factors. Radon, radiation in the soil.
There's definitely a concern though, after our meeting we had, and there was very concerned.
your meeting with.
I think that's a great idea.
Ty and I at St. Anthony, we went over there at a cancer meeting and.
Yeah, they called, Megan called it a listening post. Basically, public officials coming out and listening to concerned citizens. Some of them were cancer survivors. Some of them had cancer at that time. You could see it too. Some of them were looking pretty tired.
Maybe that's.
But
we need to go down and have a.
maybe that's
meeting
where
or something that in the evening somewhere, just to have a listening post, Crawford County listening post out. Who would bring DMU or
Rural water,
rural water in.
Gary.
I know, I can't imagine you're any different than me, Dave. I think about that meeting a lot. Boy, there was some passion in some of
It was.
the comments. There really was. I mean, and they were reaching, they weren't upset. They were desperate for help.
Maybe by doing that, was just even facilitating
Yeah.
some of that, maybe DMU, I don't know, rural water maybe has some funds set aside to help do some of this stuff, or maybe we can find a grant available to help.
Yeah, my mind goes to Region 12.
Well, there might be some grant funds, might.
So
Let me as chairman, I guess I'll reach out to DMU, to Carrie Kersey, to rural water, and invite them to a board meeting first.
Yep.
And then see what direction they would like to go, if they even think that it's something that they want to do, I guess. I would think that they would, but
I would say rural water and DMU, I would think water entities like that are probably tracking those
They
type of
probably
things.
got a pretty good
close.
handle on it already.
But the great point is, what's going on out there in the county? You know, I mean, the regular county wells, I mean, you know, and even our small towns that have, like Charter Oak they use rural water most of the time now, I believe. But we're still hooked to our wells in case we need them. I mean, I would assume that does Schleswig use their own water, or are they rural water?
Rural water.
They're rural water. Now, Manila's got their own municipal utility. I would assume then that they've got their rules they gotta go by. But I'm assuming, I don't know, that's why it'd be great to actually bring up, what can we do to make sure our folks are,
At least
you know, 'cause
aware.
farmers probably don't even think about that in today's time. You got enough other things to worry about.
Well, if they're anything like me as a farmer, sometimes not knowing better off.
the old blind eye.
Yeah.
Keep your stress level low, is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, you know, yeah.
Don't incur any added stress.
It is a concern.
Yeah.
That would,
Very much so.
we as
Great
leaders
point.
of this county should maybe try to help our citizens.
I mean, do we know, like, do we have, I mean, we used to.
Do we have a baseline?
We used to like do the fire, we did the radon test and when you were chief and
Mhm.
I was still in the department. We used to hand them things out. I mean, do we have any idea where radon might be in our county? I mean, I would guess up more by Schleswig would be hotter because the closer you get up to the glacial point, you know, up around Lake View area and stuff, that's where the larger radon effects were. I mean, do we know where our hotter spots for that type of thing even are? You know, I mean, if cancer is something, I mean, and don't go past asking the hospital to show up, you know? I mean, get public health and the hospital in on this, because it might be something that steers through the public health because it's a health concern for the public.
Maybe this is,
And Carrie Kersey is part of your,
maybe we put this together and just have a outreach booth at the fair or something, have kits available.
I think that'd be great.
great idea.
There you go.
Great idea.
I don't know.
Well, start thinking about it.
We could use my booth for it this year. I'm not running for election.
Because, I mean, farmers or people that live on acreages and live out in the country would be more willing to use a kit and self-test to see if there's an issue, because they seem like they have that apprehension about, man, I don't know if I want someone from
Somebody else
public
knows about
Right,
water.
coming
yeah.
out,
Then you got
test
no
my
choice.
water, and now
Right.
I got,
You got no choice.
you know,
You
right.
gotta fix it.
Now I got an issue where they say you can't drink that water, or what water am I supposed to be drinking then if I can't drink that water?
Good point.
You know, type of
The
thing.
rural
where-
water's tapped out where they just can't run.
But they'd be willing to test it themselves to see how it came out. And
I don't
then
think you have
have
to
them
mandate
determine
any
what they
test,
want to do, you know.
I think the free kit's available or whatever, and maybe a little education part of it. At this booth.
You're still gonna have people that do what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
But that's their choice.
Right, right.
But it would be nice to know where we might have some areas that we need to focus and what we can do to help. And that's a great idea. We'd bring that up, I
Because
think.
I remember when I was a kid, you know, when insecticide and everything was just willy-nilly thrown out in the field, you know. You could tell in the spring, you know, the water tasted a little bit climate or whatever. You just, that's the way it was when you're growing up. So,
Well, you didn't know what you didn't know. For insects, it ain't gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
I mean, praying mantis or.
So, I mean, we've come a long ways in rural America as being better stewards of our land.
We have.
Oh, yes. Night and
And I
day.
think that might be what you said, as the farmers are better educated, better trained, that their cancer rates are probably lower, or the citizens in the communities that are out spraying their lawns.
You know,
maybe
that's,
get more of a dosage of it than a farmer that's spraying thousands of acres because they're better trained. I don't know.
I was actually thinking about that. I was scrolling Facebook and I was looking at one of them ads for the Roundup lawsuits. And I thought, you know, our farmers have to go through all that chemical handling training if you got your own sprayer and stuff. But we don't make our citizens that go buy Roundup at Baumgart's do any special training. So they're probably out there barehanded. You know, mixing it into a spray bottle or mixing it into their lawn sprayer. Not thinking nothing of it, letting their dog out to run and play, and their kids are out crawling around in the yard after they sprayed. And it just, I'm not saying that happens all the time, but if it happens once, it's enough, right? I mean, so I just kind of, it's kind of what started to make me think when I seen that report on farmers actually have a lot lower cancer rates than our general population in Iowa, since we're a big cancer community. Made me kind of set back and what's the difference there then? Because we know you guys handle Roundup every year. Your beans and your corn are both Roundup ready. But what are you doing different? And I'm not gonna just blame it all on Roundup. I only brought that up because it's on Facebook, you know, but.
Yeah. Roundup's just an easy target.
Well, it's all over the
More
news and
safer
stuff, so
chemicals out
it's just the
there.
easier target, like you said. Yeah, it's a great idea. I think that would be a water quality thing, an emphasis, it'd probably be a great idea.
Maybe we can reach out with the extension too, once we can figure something out to maybe get a big.
My list is growing.
I don't, you know, just to plan ahead for like, if we have a fair booth or something, to reach out, have the extension help. They're usually got a lot of good resources available.
Right. Anything else, Kyle?
No, I've had way more than I
Okay.
even dreamed about.
That might have been your longest contribution on here.
We appreciate it.
I'm teasing you.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to ECI a little bit.
Good reason though.
I did have a meeting with one of the board members, Dave Arns. We are now, we have a meeting Friday. Our current chair is not going to be reappointed, which is very disappointing to me. I thought Emily Westergaard did a fabulous job of, she called a lot of meetings together with the local ECI areas, and the common theme with local ECI areas, and you can tell me what you think, but is that there's this huge distrust between HHS, the state ECI staff, and what they're telling the local ECI boards.
There's a reason.
Prime example, very, very frustrating to me. The fact that they would tell Lakes area one day that, yep, you're on the right path, keep working on these things. And then the very next day, tell the state board, they're too far gone, dissolve them. So that kind of thing just does not sit well. And now they're not going to reappoint Emily. So we'll have it on the agenda for a new chair and vice chair. To approve. Just like Dave Aaron's.
Does the chair and vice chair have to be, they're current members of the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, we had a good talk about a lot of the frustrations. It feels like even as a state ECI board, they really didn't like our pushback. You know, we pushed back that we did not want to regionalize. We wanted it to happen organically and we don't even, you know, a lot of us didn't even want it to happen. We didn't want ECI boards to say, well, this is gonna happen anyway, so we better get going like that. But yet the state staff and I think the HHS is really pushing it. How do we make this? They see all the local areas as too complicated to handle. And they're definitely pushing us into a bigger districts. Even though it hasn't passed at the state level, but like I said, HHS, I don't think really liked that. Some of us board members pushed back that we didn't want to go along and rubber stamp what they wanted. We wanted to have local input and make it work for the local areas to join if they so deem, but if not, you know, their input is key. They're the boots on the ground. They're probably one of the most frustrating boards I've ever been on. I don't take it lightly, and I'm very frustrating that, you know, when they want the board, to me, in my eyes, it's the tail wagging the dog, like you say. Is the board in command or is HHS in command? And if,
HHS.
you know, and if they want to be in command, then change it legislatively and take over. If not, quit trying to play all these games with the state board and the local areas and.
It's like living in fear.
Right.
Because even, you know, budgets for all of these individuals or organizations that ask for some funding really don't know how to go forward because they don't know if program, the way they did it last year, is going to be the same, or if they have to completely, you know, actually let staff go and not serve our community and be able to do what they're designed to do because of funding.
I really thought Emily was on the right path to kind of bridge everything together so that the local areas still had their input and decision-making, working with the state's board. And now they're gonna go a different direction of not her. And we're really in this limbo. I feel like this,
Unfortunate limbo.
yes. And
Because
I
there's a
don't think
lot
it's
at
gonna be
stake here.
resolved until either the state gets out of the way and lets the state staff or the state board work with the local areas, or draw the line in the sand and just take over.
When are they gonna do that?
Nobody
When?
knows.
Here we are working on budgets and how to, you know, even what a public health budget that we approve could be completely different if they don't get the grants.
Well, even some of the, you know, like Senator Winkler that's on it. She's voiced her concerns, said HHS is pushing us towards these regions and we haven't even made legislation to say how that should happen.
So why?
Does HHS need legislation to make that happen?
Well, I think they do. I think there's just a power struggle between HHS and what they want to do and then the state board. Because the state board, you know, under our bylaws and how we're set up, are supposed to dictate a lot of how we work with the local areas. And I think that's part of, and this is just my opinion, why they're going away from Emily and why she isn't being reapproved, is that she wanted the local areas to have say and she wanted the state board to do their job and not just be a rubber stamp.
Who decided not to reapprove her though? How does that process work? Or can you talk about that in the public or is that
Governor Reynolds decided not to reappoint her.
that's that simple?
Has she got a different person in mind or just?
What I asked.
I don't know yet till Friday. So
Does she get to remain on the board or she's just?
I think she'll be done. I think she's going to resign after that.
Is
I
this
think there's
program a costly program? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, you look at just Gene's one local area. Yeah, there's quite a bit of federal dollars and state dollars. And
I just kind of wondered why we're worried about reorganizing it. You know, that was the thing with mental health, of supposedly they were gonna be more cost.
some of the talk is if they do go to bigger regions and they're more enticing or how it works out for some of the federal funds that they aren't currently getting. But I think it's a fine line. I mean, you have to balance what the money is along with what the local input and how it's distributed, because it's kind of like our counties. Not every local area is the same and they have different needs. Carroll County's unique in that this is one struggle that the director, Amanda Winslow, and I had. CCRR, Child Resource and Referral, is kind of used statewide, but Carroll used their own. They said we don't see the bang for the buck with CCRR in our local area, so we went to a local provider for those services. And there was some pushback at the state level from the staff that, well, that's not consistent. I said, well, it might not be consistent across the state, but that's, to me, that's the give and take of locals having their say. If they feel that there's a better provider for a service, shouldn't it be up to them to decide who that is?
Sure.
Sometimes those federal monies are tied, it seems like the state of Iowa is doing some shifting based on the rules that the federal government has on their funds. And when you let people opt out to do their own thing, then all of a sudden the federal government funds, you don't qualify for those. So you need to have a certain percent, participation into the state program to get the federal funds. And it's just the local control just keeps on getting pulled away. Unfortunately, when, it seemed like all government used to be local government, and seems like it's just getting farther and farther away from that, which is disappointing.
Starla passed away.
Oh,
What's that?
Steiny's wife.
Oh,
passed
no.
away.
Gosh.
and she's in rehab.
I did not even know
Was she
that.
in the hospital?
Yeah, like 3 or 4 weeks now.
Oh, really?
I know.
With the cancer came back?
Yeah, I
think
think
so.
so.
Nancy said she was down to like 80 pounds.
Oh, wow.
It's not cancer, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we were just talking about.
And I'm headed to Iron.
Okay,
We'll
thanks.
have to get a card to send to
Yeah.
somebody. I'll bring the card. That makes me sad.
This thing's in perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, the Hanson family was growing up in Kyron,
Absolutely.
Leroy,
Yep, Leroy was
They were
on this board.
prominent people in our
Yep.
St. John's Lutheran
Good
Church.
member of county supervisors.
Starla and Sheila, Sandy, and
Oh,
good people.
bummer.
Anything else, Dave?
No, Region 12 meeting Thursday.
Okay.
I won't be able to attend. I've got another meeting, but I've let them know, so.
Ty?
I had no meetings. I've been working on a couple extracurriculars.
Oh, is somebody?
ISAC wants me to help construct an op-ed for our local government. And so I've been working on that, and I'll let you guys know when I get ready to.
So what does ISAC want to do with that op-ed once you submit it to them?
Public education and county government, that's right. So when I get close.
So I mean, when you get it done and you
I'm
give it to
gonna-
ISAC, what's ISAC gonna do with it?
We'll have to know the paper.
Probably put it in the magazine too.
Okay,
That's it.
So I'll contact you guys and let you know what I'm thinking and see if you got any additions, subtractions. And at least this is from our perspective. I mean, for sure. I don't know where else she's wanting to go with it. I'm waiting to hear back. Jessica, is that right? Dave? Yeah, she's the one that's kind of.
so is this something that you approached ISAC with, or they approached you with?
I think that just listening to us talk about it,
Because this was something we talked about last week.
yeah. I think just listening to us talk about it, because we've discussed it at supervisor meetings and then also in kind of the general consensus down there at the ISAC spring conference. So I think it's just, getting the message out about, being more transparent in everything, not just, budgets or whatever. I mean, letting people, come on. When you got on the board, did you think you were gonna be doing all the things you do?
No.
Nobody
I
knows
did
what
not,
our,
Ty.
nobody knows what our department heads are doing as far as all the details they have to manage. Nobody knows all the things that we're managing, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's a great idea. Just kind of give a better perspective on what's going on. What do we do? So I think that's gonna be kind of a good project going forward. I think we just need to do things more, and I won't even say just the citizens. I think it's something that we need to let the people in Des Moines know. I'm not sure they understand what all we're doing down there.
Well, we know they sure as heck don't ask us.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
And so, just think about it. When I go out to Washington or when we all go to Des Moines, what's our job when we're out there? We're out there to try to advance legislation that matters to us, but it's also to go out there and let them know what people are thinking out here and what we're doing out here and what needs their attention. So I think that every angle that we can take here, I mean, this is just another avenue to say, to let them know through an interesting read, hey, I didn't realize the counties were doing all these kind of things, you know? I mean, what all goes into an election cycle? I mean, hell, I'm sure that all the rule changes that she deals with every time, sure, or Terry still does work, you know? But, so I mean, and you know that they're.
We all know, I guess, before we served on the board and we would just go and vote. We have absolutely no idea what was done to let us go vote, or, you know, what was all the stuff behind the scenes that made it just a seamless procedure that you just walked up and hit the button and walked out the door and you were done.
So easy.
And, right, and I mean, that's a credit to the auditor's department that makes it come off so seamless when they're done. But there is, yeah, a lot of planning behind the scenes things that I certainly never thought of before. You know, you just show up and vote and walk out the door and you're done. That's it.
When I was talking to Andrea last night and I told her that we had 6 people running for supervisor this year. She goes, 6? I said, yeah. She goes, well, that's you guys' fault. I said, it is? It is? Yeah, you guys make it look too easy. I said, I don't know about all that, but okay. She might be right. I mean, it doesn't look too complicated if everything's running seamless. I mean, secondary roads is out there doing what they do and they see some great results from that, you know, and that's out there around them all the time. So they see that, well, you know, and, you know, all the different things that are happening in the county, you know, that's good. I mean, so they want to be part of it. You know, I mean, I think that would be the case, you know? So, I mean, she might have been right on that in part, you know, I mean, I think she was just trying to tease me a little bit, mind you, but, cause I don't think we make it look easy. Some days it's pretty challenging, you know, but, don't feel easy. How's that? Maybe it does look easy if you're sitting out there just at a glance, you know, but I think, you know, we were talking earlier about, you know, the state pays attention to county government, but they don't look at the cities, and the cities are out there. And I'd say cities, it's all our levels of city government. They're struggling. Can't get people to run for those jobs, and they get people talked into it, but then they get that kind of effort back some of the time. Some of the time that people actually, hey, this is important. I need to do a good job. And so they do step in and do a good job. But in other times they're busier than heck with life, and they just thought, well, everybody needs me, I'll try. Some people have that disease where you're saying no. It's that in their vocabulary. So then they get a job that they really don't have time for, and that, you know, they only have half of their time to give, and so it only gets half of an effort. And all them jobs need a full effort, especially at budget time and when they're having issues or when you're trying to promote. I mean, look at development. I will commend all of our smaller towns. I mean, putting their own development teams together and stuff. I mean, they've really been working hard to try to help themselves, and that's great, you know. But I think that the state should also focus not on trying to correct people, but on trying to help educate and advance them, you know, with more than just having a Region 12. Hey, can you go out and do a League of Cities things for these people? I mean, do something that matters, you know, get them involved. You know, government is essential to our success at every level, right down to the trustees and the cities and the dog catcher, and all them people matter. I mean, and I don't know if we give it the right amount of emphasis. You know, I mean, I don't think we need an awards banquet like they need in Hollywood every year. I think we need to though place more emphasis on it. I mean, what did you say that paid to go to be a councilman in Schleswig? $25 a meeting. And the damn thing will last 3 hours. That's not a very good wage. You know, I mean, maybe they're supposed to only last an hour, but let's face it, there's a Ty Rosberg on every board. It lasts too long. You know, that's why I was thinking earlier, I'm usually the noisy one, Tom.
Well, and Ty, to your point, even with the property taxes, in my mind, you know, and maybe we need to get it out to more, but encouraging the general, to be really concerned about your property taxes. Show up to the supervisors' public hearings on the
Yeah.
budget, show up to the city councils and the school board meetings. And, you know, those are your local elected people that are setting those levies for your property taxes, and legitimately so. You have concerns, go to them.
Yeah.
And voice your opinion and ask questions of how it's being spent and what on, and better educate yourselves.
Before they vote, not after.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one of the things that I'm working on behind the scenes there. Working on a couple other things. I'm not gonna talk about them in the meeting yet, because I don't think they're ready for public consumption, but I've been working on a few other things with some of your help.
To be continued.
To be continued. Yeah. So in any event, life is trucking along, and spring is sprung, and we're all calving. Either calves or good at calving ideas, right?
All right, thank you, Ty.
All right.
Move on. Ben showed up. Tim, thank you. What do you got, Ben?
Yeah, we're glad we kind of missed our little bit of snow chance last night. Crawford didn't catch any of that. Plus maybe a flurry or two up in the north corner there, but we're good not to have to send the trucks out after any of that this morning. So, but yeah, we'll have to start there. Our HMA project, I apologize again, I don't have any new news on that. Played a little bit of phone tag with Steve Leonard with Norris Asphalt this morning. We just never really connected. But we were playing phone tag this morning, and I'm sure he's got a bit of a schedule in mind, but still haven't been able to get a hold of him. So, but
To be continued.
yep, to be continued. Aside from that, our grade crew, they started working up on the avenue up by Schlossberg there, between Schlossberg and 230th Street. They're moving off of that. It's kind of slow goings in between the frames and whatnot. And I know we got rain chances in the future, but it's just kind of getting an easy start to things, and we'll work on it when conditions are fit. So, but and then from there, they'll probably move over to FF. But bridge crew, they're kind of held off on starting down on that bridge down in Iowa Township until weather conditions are a little more favorable. They don't want to open up a bridge and just have it sitting removed for a couple of weeks while it get rained out. So they've been doing some culvert repairs that we've been finding out this time of year. These first rains, also the holes start showing up where culvert. We are the wait for it's all there.
He's gonna start this Friday at the beginning of pay period. But yeah, we're still looking for a guy for the dirt crew, a part-time guy. We've got a couple applications. We'll see who we get. We're gonna let the ad run its course through the week here and see what we have for applicants, and then make a decision on hiring a dirt crew guy. So, and again, these aren't new positions. These are just filling part-time positions that we've had in the past, and some have moved into either full-time positions or moved on entirely. So, but yeah. Again,
the dump trucks have been busy. I suppose you're out moving the fixing soft spots and.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, he's going quite a bit, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, this time of year last year, that's when that detour started down on 30, and you think early April, and what the weather we've had, you think the frost will be out, but that one sure, the bottom went out of it on that. There are spots like that out there. You're gonna find your soft spots this time of year, and they're out
this week. You'll probably find more.
Yeah, maybe. The rain will show them up, and but it helps too. So yeah. So, but yeah, they're out throwing some limestone out in bad spots, that are showing up, and maintenance what they can. But like I said, the moisture does help. Some of the next, I guess, the next talking point update on the gravel road conditions. Really, they're good. We were able to retain again, from not having a bad winter. We were able to retain a lot of the gravel, but like I said, this is when your thin spots will start to show up, and ahead of your gravel hole. When we do our gravel hole, we'll try covering up some of that. But yeah, they're throwing some limestone out there now. We got some limestone coming in by rail again, so they're into their piles up north. And that's good because we were getting down on our piles down the yard there for a little bit there, and we were hoping they were going to be able to get some down to us in pretty good time this spring. So, yeah.
How many cars comes in on a fill?
11 cars. Yeah, it's a train.
How many of them are ours? I know they get some for their own selling.
When we order a train load.
You get a whole load.
So it'll be a full train.
Oh, okay.
Which, when I started, I didn't realize that. I thought ordering a whole train of limestone. I was like, wow, but I guess that's typical.
That's 11 cars.
Yeah. And then we're about,
It's not a UP size train.
That a UP train?
I
200.
want to say about 110 ton a piece on it. So around that 1,200 ton on a train, thereabouts. So, yeah.
So does the county own the property there on 10th Street, or do we rent that? We own it?
We don't know.
We own the south part.
Where the piles are.
Yes,
Okay.
we don't own the operation.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, where we're stockpiling.
Right, where we stockpile, we own that.
We looked at it one time.
What's that?
We looked at it one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it was for sale, we talked about it.
But I don't have on here, but paved road conditions, like I said, drove out quite a bit yesterday, taking a look at our paved roads. I'm gonna, start kind of getting a tab on some patching that, I can see we got some patching that's gonna need to be done later on this. Possibly have our bridge, our bridge crew to be busy a few weeks this summer again, doing some of that, but crack sealing, I want to start looking at a couple stretches where we got some, crack sealing that could be done. That wouldn't be something that they'd probably do till this fall. You want to do that when it's cooler out and when the cracks are opened up, and but like I said, I don't believe we did any crack sealing this last year, so it's probably due for some crack sealing in some areas. Trying to keep that from the moisture getting underneath the pavement and causing issues. So, but and then we got a couple spots on Kittle Road that we're gonna have. We're gonna go out and take a look at with 10 point to do some patching on some small areas where we got some spots breaking out that are just a little more than what. We're gonna go out and throw a cold patch in, of course, so see if we can't shore some of them areas up.
Going to put you on the spot, but I guess from a budgeting standpoint, what do you budget for street or for the road repair on the highways?
We always budget some for crack sealing you know, we always budget so much for pavement marking, we always use it. But crack sealing, sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't, but we always budget a certain amount. Should we decide to do some of that, so we, you know, try to stay within that budget, so.
Right.
But yes, every year we budget for.
I did ask a question of someone, like, if they pass this 60-mile-an-hour thing, how that would affect us. We don't really have a lot of speed limit signs, so it'd be pretty easy. Troy will be able to knock them out in a day or something.
We have approximately 30 signs, 55-mile-an-hour signs.
You're digging into that,
I
huh?
already done it. I've done it.
Because in the passing of the bill, it wasn't that the state would fund the
Oh, of course.
new signs that need to be
That's
posted
right.
in every county.
So that's one of the big questions right now is the state's not gonna help pay those. So do I have, you know, our sign guys start refacing some already to 60-mile-an-hour, or do you wait till July, or you know, how soon are they gonna pass this bill? Because it's effective July 1, from what I've been told, if it passes through.
How much do you think that costs you? Check that out, and
Sure,
it's just a sticker for
Troy.
Can you use the same sign?
yes, but you just have to reface it.
And Troy's been doing a lot of his own refacing rather than having them sent off and, you know.
So we can do our own refacing in-house? We can do that in-house or?
We could, some of it.
Okay.
But really, who can drive 55?
I know, my bigger concern with that is,
Sammy
it
Hagar.
affects.
Sammy Hagar.
I couldn't drive 55.
I
I had
can't
a whole
either.
song about it.
My bigger concern with that is how that affects, like say, when we determine entrance permits and, you know, coming up to intersection placement of signs, you know, you're stopping sight distances now.
Sure.
I mean, now it's 6 mile an hour, we'll have to look at all of our, I don't know how in depth we need to look at all of our signage and, you know, the distance placed of, like, before a stop sign indicating stop sign ahead, because it's all based off the stopping sight distance.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
You know, cresting over here, your passing lanes. I don't know to what effect we need to assess all this.
Wow.
Those are my questions with it, and I don't know.
So the
That's not
length
something
of the
you
no
really typically
passing
think about, is it?
zones are based on 55 miles per hour.
55.
I believe so,
Speed limit
yeah,
does
to
say.
some degree, they're based off of, people traveling at that speed and having to accelerate and get around that person, so, I mean,
So we could potentially have to repaint
Yeah.
all of our
well,
highway.
I'm assuming,
So you're coming up to.
I don't wanna assume anything, but I'd have to think
ahead or
that,
Speed limit ahead sign.
they're
Yeah.
not gonna
Ability to
impose
stop.
that on us
Speed limit, you just
immediately,
went off the
if things of that nature need to be changed,
You'll hit the next-
but those are questions I got for DOT.
Write 'em down, sounds like a lot.
Go past this, so.
I thought that was arbitrary, but actually that makes sense now that you talk about it. I never even considered that.
I never gave that a thought either, so we got just.
I'll be-
That is ours.
I'll be talking with some folks more on that, so, and I'll certainly let you know.
Plot thickens.
Yeah.
Well, you're losing your sign guy
Always
for
does.
bridge work, and you'll be out moving signs all over the county.
But,
I've been trying to find a little sticker from the back of his truck that says, "Here's your sign." I shouldn't say that, I'd probably go make one himself.
you know, one thing about, when he goes out there, you never have to worry about getting stuff done, you know, that he's busy.
He's got a lot of
He
that.
stays busy. So,
Good deal.
yeah. Next up, aggregate has been put on 230th Street there, so that is now a level A road. We will probably monitor that, you know, we put some out there now, we'll probably end up putting a little more out there, before all is said and done. We'll let what we put out there settle in and get driven on, and then assess and see if it needs a little more, so we try and do it, in, you know, a couple different increments there. But yes, it has been upgraded to a level B, having a resolution last week passed, yeah. And the UP Railroad has approved the 100% plans for their portion within their right of way, the structure, they have approved the structure and the grading and the work that affects their railroad right away. So that doesn't mean we got 100% plans, but it's 100% approval of what's gonna affect them.
They're usually the
So
biggest hurdle though, aren't they?
they are a hurt, but,
Did you think that they made any concessions that you were surprised at, or did they make us make some concessions that we didn't want to make?
well, they did make concessions. They did
They
approve
did.
our variances for the construction that we want to build
Okay.
and did have some concessions in that respect. I think got some new faces in there possibly that wanted things to move along and maybe just have a little more, moving things, ability to move things forward. Because it certainly has been fingers crossed, knock on wood, an easy go with them since we started talking to different people. But I guess and
Find the right people.
yep, yep.
Yes, that happened down by Manila too. No traction to, you and Paul finally found the right person to talk to. And then it was easy going. So.
Really, they made it work out well.
I was on a flight and actually sat next to an attorney for UP, and that was her department, was rail crossings and farm accesses and bridges. And we were talking about that, and she says most of it's risk management for them.
Yeah.
And she'd actually brought up, have you ever seen a really serious train wreck when it happens, around a bridge or something? She says, it's been there over the years. She said that they did studies on what creates some of them, and that's why they're so hard to get along with, because they got to go back over history and look at things and try to make sure that anything that you do doesn't compromise their train. Because when they have a wreck, it isn't a couple cars hitting, in an intersection. I think about a couple of them I've seen in Kansas over this last winter. Oh my God, there's one down there at Hutchins in Kansas. This was coming along it's pretty high up there by one of their big grain elevators and stuff. And there was cars that were full of automobiles, and there was tons of stuff. It just looked like a bomb went off there. It was terrible. So, that's why they're so cautious. So, I kind of get that.
Oh, I get it too. I can't imagine, the amount of kinetic momentum and force that thing has, to come to a crashing stop. Especially, like I said, if it was to meet a vehicle at an intersection, it's no contest, obviously. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I get that they need to have what they have within their right of way and why they have the requirements that they do. So I'm very appreciative that they've worked with us this well to this point. And there will need to be agreements drawn up, more so what related to the construction within the right of way and just what they expect from us, what we expect from them when the construction is taking place. Lowell, our consultant, is now playing a part in drafting up an agreement.
So was a timetable part of the approval or not? Timetable about when we'd start, the length of time, that sort of thing?
No, I don't believe so. They're just approving our plan, our design, for the most part, any kind of time.
That's on us.
That's yes.
And we're still planning 2027, right?
That's the hopes, the plan. So
That's a good point, Craig, I guess. So we let the bridge in January 27th. Okay. UP decides, well, you're not gonna build that this year. Can I do
they can do that. They can do anything. But they are aware of our funding situation. I do know that. They are aware that we have.
And the plans for the other
that
UP
is
bridges.
affected by this.
I can speak to that. Actually, the Freight Advisory Council I sit on, that's actually put on by the state DOT. It's for the governor's office, but it's by the state DOT. And every entity that transports anything around Iowa, whether it's a barge or rail, we're all sitting in that room together. And you'd be surprised at a lot of the conversations that are going on. So, they are aware. And everybody in that room really sounds like they want to get along together, because we're all trying to accomplish the same thing, move freight or people.
It's as much in their interest to have a great separation crossing over the railroad as it is for us. they hate at-grade crossings. They would very much not be affected, rather not be affected by traffic, coming up to the rails and crossing over at grade. So these structures are necessary and they're aware of that. And this provides a great, opportunity to upgrade for over their system. So, but yes, construction, I'm not gonna doubt that there's gonna be hurdles during construction. There's gonna be days we might be out there and not get nothing done, because I'm always waiting on trains, to go through a pass. It's just gonna be the nature of it. Any contractor that's worked around the railroad is gonna be aware of that, and I'm sure their bids are gonna be.
They're gonna reflect that.
Reflective of that, so. But yeah.
Any other questions for Ben? Thank you, sir. Tim, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That's where to coordinate with that, while we're building that, so that they don't block the ethanol plants crossing by 2 cars. They're pretty good at that.
Yeah, you're right, they are.
Well, I do know that I will have to add an extra 5.5 minutes into town when I have to go the other way if I have to wait for a train, because I practiced and trains are like 5.5
You want me to
minutes.
call Jerry and have him set your alarm?
Well, I don't know if it'll help, but I'm usually right on time. And so when I have to go down South Main
Good
Loop
point,
and wait
Todd.
for a train,
All the way to 59 then. and come in.
that adds
Probably
a
be
little more
quicker.
time too,
Probably
though.
won't though, if there's no train.
Because
I
you
mean,
can drive 65 down Donnery Road.
You
can.
might have to adjust the
You
meeting.
can.
You're not
times next
supposed
year,
to.
You can even take
I
my
know
car
five.
at 65 very easily and be on time. So I have to adjust my entire life when that's going on, so.
Just think though, after you make that adjustment and the bridge is done, you'll always be ahead.
You'll always be early.
You'll be early.
Now your habit will be
Look at that,
leave sooner.
look at that.
I see no reason to be places too early. Makes it look like I have nothing to do.
Never looked at it
That's-
from that
So
perspective.
that's the perspective of people that are always late. They
I'm not
don't
always
want,
late, I'm
Oh,
always right
okay.
on time. Right on time.
I work with someone that's always late and I never thought that maybe that's his perspective. Oh, I just thought it was poor planning.
No, it's not.
That was from my perspective.
N.M.'s always late,
What's that?
N.M.'s always late.
Yeah. I told him one time I just said, what would be hilarious is if, I said, when you pass away, if they would take your casket and just put it out of sight, and everybody comes into the church and sits down, and then they wheel your casket in and they go, even Neil was late for his own funeral. We'll move on. Set time, date, location for public hearing for proposed budget for year 27.
Hot dog.
What's that?
Hot dog.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We're getting there.
We are getting there.
So what's the what's the parameters that we have to,
10 and 20.
10 and 20?
I don't think we can get it in the paper this week. It's already Tuesday, so it'll be
So-
next,
We need to do it April 28th.
yeah, probably.
So we want to do it
10
at
a.m.
10 a.m. I mean, we had the public hearing at night. Just to approve it. Seems like we can do that. What's that?
Yeah, but to approve the levy, and
What month are you on here?
wasn't worth. This would approve it.
I suggest we just move it to April.
I don't know.
I mean, to me, I guess I don't have a problem doing it at 10 a.m. We had the public hearing at night to allow the public to come in and
That was where we
Give
still
us-
had room to adjust.
right,
Now we
give
can
us any
go down.
differences that they wanted, and we really didn't have any
You can only
objections
go
to
down on
that.
that one too.
Right.
Well, yeah. That's true. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
I guess what are other thoughts?
I'd say 10 a.m.
What's that, 10 a.m.?
Initial thoughts, I was having an evening again, but the response we had, I think those people that were there would be here at 10 o'clock.
I
as well.
agree. And Zoom is always another option.
I think a lot of people get comfortable watching it after it gets put up. I don't know. I was kind of hoping for a lot more people on a 5 o'clock meeting.
Me too.
Well, when
I mean, I'm not opposed to doing it again
Maybe people-
next year, I guess.
Yeah, I think we could keep trying.
Right,
And once we start getting a crowd, if we get a crowd.
all right.
I don't mind either way,
Do all of
so.
them that way.
So let's do, I guess we're in concurrence, we'll have a motion, but I mean, April 28th, 10 o'clock, seems like.
I'll make
But
a
I did
motion
watch
for that.
Carol's
Okay.
budget meeting and they had it just before their meeting and they had a fair amount up there.
Okay. In the morning.
Compared to what we had, I mean, they still didn't.
So we have a motion by Gene,
Sorry.
so
I'll second
second by Kyle, set it at April 28th, 10 o'clock in the
If
morning.
you wanted more discussion, we could think about doing it
Just
ahead
gonna
of
say
time.
discussion, yes.
If we could do it ahead of time before people go to work, that 8:30 deal, to see if that, if that's something, because
Who's going to work that later on here?
thanks.
I didn't say that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's gonna change much.
It's
But
just for
my
discussion.
department don't work here 9 to 5.
Otherwise, my emotion will stand at 10.
yeah, I think in my opinion, best option would be later in the day. 8 o'clock in the morning, you're either on your way to work or
Getting ready for work.
getting ready for work to
Just
just,
got the kids out the door onto the school bus and
yeah,
That happens at like
don't even have time for a
7:15.
Zoom meeting.
right.
I don't care,
I think,
whatever's easiest.
other than having it at 6 a.m.
As long as there's not a train, I'll
That
be here.
gets me up at about 3:30.
I mean, you gotta be more conscious with your time.
Now, we got a motion and a second for April 28th, 10 o'clock. Any further discussion? If not, we'll have roll call. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries.
You talk to yourself in the mirror, is that why you have to get up 3 hours?
Move on to set time, date, location for
Happy birthday in the morning.
for public hearing for a budget amendment for year 2026.
This budget amendment would include health insurance in the treasurer's office and recorder's office. They had some qualifying events in their office that required some employees to change their coverage during the year. So it
Went
was
from
prior
single to family.
to, yeah, I believe so. I believe you're right. And then the county farms expense ended up being more than what was budgeted for. I thought I printed those, maybe I did not.
So how many dollars are we talking for the health insurance between the
That's
recorders? and-
39,000 for both departments combined. One is 16, one is 23. And then the county farm is 16,800.
Can
There's
you,
revenue there to offset that.
Yeah, there was revenue. We just had to expend more
So
towards
just spending authority for the.
that went to the Pheasants Forever group because of the amount that we received from the Von Glon portion. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Gene.
what is the circumstance that would make one be 23,000 and one 16? Going, I would think going from single to family would be the same in both
There
scenarios.
were,
One, two.
Right, two employees
There
and
were
one.
two.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, when you're a department head and you budget, I mean, you kind of look at the
Yeah.
employees last year, what they
Right,
picked.
cause you don't
What they
budget
plan
all
on.
family, you
Right.
know what I mean? You try to budget
You try to
fiscally
be responsible.
responsible
Some
and
people
budget
used to.
for single, and so, yeah.
Things change.
Yep, things change, and
That's why they have that.
Right, family circumstances.
that's why we
change, you
have
don't
the
know.
clause for qualifying events.
and
We allow those changes to
It's a
happen.
good thing we do, because
Yeah.
you never know if somebody's gonna.
Yeah, you
husband
don't
lose
know
their
what's
job
gonna
or-
happen.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Yep, so,
exactly.
all right,
So are there parameters that we have to abide by?
Same.
Same, 10 and
We
20.
do it
Yeah.
at 10:15 that same day.
So 10, 15.
Yeah, we could do it. Yes, absolutely.
10:15.
So is there a reason, Terry, that they didn't know when we did our last budget amendment, why this wasn't included in?
I
when we
think
did
I
that?
became very busy and just did not get it included.
Okay,
It was not a them, it was
Okay.
a me.
okay.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware, I was not even, my sites were not on the county farm being a problem.
Right.
At that moment in time
I didn't
either. I
think
don't know
about
if
that
I had
either.
even paid Pheasants Forever
The
early
problem
in the
arose when the
year.
revenue came in, I think, right?
Yeah, there was a lot more revenue, and then it became apparent that it was gonna be a larger expenditure going toward, because Pheasants gets 50% of that revenue to be able
I
to
think you
accomplish some of
contacted me
those.
on that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it was
This
a
is the
good
first year
problem.
doing that though. too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
guessing-
so we
Right.
had no
No,
idea, yes.
And it was a good
I had no
problem to
idea what
have.
the CRP stuff was gonna amount to, and
Mhm.
they do some extra tree removal, and that got compensated to
Yeah.
them, so that county got a portion of those dollars, so there was some extra things in that revenue. So there, like Kyle said, there is revenue that supports that
Mhm.
expenditure. It just was not budgeted for to
Yeah,
expend.
Dave?
Terry, not to get the cart ahead of the horse, but
Sorry.
Colin had mentioned something about his forfeiture fund for spending authority.
Yep, I think I already did that. That was in the last
Oh,
budget
okay.
amendment.
I didn't,
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was,
It
pretty
was.
sure it was.
if it didn't, and then I didn't know if it could be added to that.
Oh, it could be. I'll look at it again, but I'm almost positive I included it in the last one.
I do remember, I think, the county attorney
Yep.
last time.
I'm
Me
almost
too.
positive.
I just remember that he
Right.
mentioned that, and I just didn't want to have another one.
Yeah,
No,
I agree.
yeah, no, we won't
Why-
have a lot of time for it.
While you're checking, would you want
Yeah,
with conservation, because I know Chris had said something about this lake restoration project that they're starting on. They might, said something about there'd be funds they might need to spend to get this project started,
okay.
but there was gonna be maybe some grants that would offset it. I couldn't remember if he said it was gonna need it prior to June 30th or not. So for
I'll
some,
get a hold of him right away.
this is why we're doing this.
Yep.
I don't know what, it's always cost us some money to have a budget amendment for publications and stuff, so
Yeah.
I mean. And here we are.
You said forfeiture, right, Dave?
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have any idea how much that would be? I mean,
Let me look back on, I could find it in my emails, but.
are they pretty sure about the grants, or is that just
Well,
kind of,
it's just,
grants have been written already? Didn't put it right on?
no, but
No.
I think just be nice to, maybe I'm thinking it's next year that there, but I know he said there could be possible need for a budget amendment if this whole project gets rolling. But he might be talking
Next year,
27
yeah.
budget, but no sense having a budget amendment
Right,
without having clarification. I'd hate to have another one. I don't know
Yep.
what,
I don't want
it
another
was
one.
cost of whatever,
No.
100, 200, 300
And
bucks to have everything
won't
published.
be a
and
lot of
everything.
time to have another one.
So, you know, obviously, these are things that were unable to be foreseen in a
Yeah,
budget making process, so. I think,
So is that a motion from you at 10:15?
yeah, I'll make a
On
motion
that
to
April 28th,
April 28th at 10:15.
Second.
second by Dave. Any further discussion?
If we would happen to have a long discussion at our first public hearing, would we stop at 10:15, do that one, and then go back to the discussion, you know, just in case,
I
15
think in my
minutes?
past history on school board, we've had public hearings run simultaneously. I think we'd probably maybe do that, to where just open the other one at 10:15.
Just in case we have a,
Because
Oh.
the discussions are gonna be relatively in the same,
right.
I think you. Maybe, maybe we need to have some legal counsel on that, but I
Right.
don't see why you wouldn't be able to have them both.
well, I wouldn't want to cut anybody short that joined the meeting and had, you know, we had conversation going about the budget and cut them short with 15 minutes. I'm fine as long as we have a thought process if it runs past
I
15
wonder,
minutes. of
really technically, if we
Be
could have the
unusual.
same time frame for two. And they're relatively the same subject matter.
They're
Regarding the
just
budget,
separate years is all, but
you know.
I don't know if it, I don't know.
Right, they are.
Just a thought,
Separate years, but
because we're trying
still.
to get people to have conversations.
Right, it's a good point. I mean, I guess,
Cut them short.
I'll ask, oh, my list is growing. But, in
That's why
my
you make
mind,
the
I
big
guess
bundle.
what I would do would be to suspend the first one, open the second one, close the second one, and then reopen the
That's
first
what
one.
I'm wondering.
That's in my
We've
mind.
never had to do
I would
that.
do it. but I don't know if that's the correct
But we'd be
You're
lucky.
Robert Rules of Order to do it that way,
You hold the gamble, I would say that probably sounds.
you know.
That's what I would envision, but
Right.
we don't find out
Sounds
the hard way
organized.
that was wrong.
Or have them run in second, or open the second one and just.
Right, at
leave the
ten
first
fifteen,
one
we're gonna
open
open the
and-
second one and
Yeah.
continue discussion about both of them.
Just
Yep.
hoping for that
I'm
conversation.
sure Colin
at
will
some
have
point in time,
advice
so,
on
I
that.
think Ty maybe pointed out, I mean, you're the chair, I think you can probably
As long as it's legal.
Do,
navigate us down the road that,
right,
as long as it's legal.
But good concern.
You don't want to
Whether
find
it
out
doesn't
the hard
violate
way
the
it
code.
wasn't
Right.
legal.
right, because I mean, the Titanic also had a navigator. So I can navigate us down, maybe right down, you know,
True point.
but I will navigate.
All right.
Well,
Right or wrong,
Robert's
you're gonna
rules is
navigate.
not like the Constitution.
Correct.
It is flexible, so as long as it isn't violating code, you know, we don't know what state code says about open, you know, public hearings, I should say. So if you have a public hearing
Chapter
like that,
21.
I would just ask Colin, he could probably. tell you.
Is that what it is?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
There we go.
I mean, and knowing, having all of us read Iowa code will have an opinion on it.
For real.
For real.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think ahead rather than going back and
I'd say
asking
so.
for forgiveness.
I was going, just going
Like
back
it or
on the
not.
school board days, that maybe we were not following code back then, and maybe school board did not pertain necessarily to a different statute or Iowa code, but
We will
we.
send the state auditor right out.
So,
Should be.
Okay.
you
Open
would think a
meetings is
public
open
hearing would be
meetings.
a public hearing, so,
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Well,
anyway.
I just hate to cut somebody short if in fact we do have a crowd.
Oh,
Yep.
you're right.
We'll have it, I'll have it figured out.
We work
by
for
then.
the public,
Yep.
so I don't wanna.
So any further discussion? Not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
All
Move on to naming of the members of the EMS commission. We put that on the agenda because I guess we had discussion about naming two people. I think since it has kind of come to a consensus that we want to name three people to that commission and from this table. And the two people currently, do we want to publicly name is Roger Kinkle and Cindy Crudoff will be the two people of the three that we'll name. And it seems like to me, there's some consensus that, hey, we'd like to name somebody else, give us a week and we'll come up with that person. And by next Tuesday, we'll put it back on the agenda and we'll publicly vote on those three people to appoint them. Is that kind of what everybody's thinking or?
Well, there was also the talk about doing it the same as the conference board, that each one of the three entities must have one vote. Because my concern is if you have 6 people, there could be a tie. And that's kind of where that, and then you would be a tiebreaker, which I think would be very difficult to, you probably don't, and you don't maybe foresee that tie, but I mean, tie.
I mean, currently, if it's structured that we name 3,
There'd be 7.
there would be 7 people on the board, so it wouldn't be a tie whether they voted individually or they voted as
Correct.
public.
Correct.
And I hate to put, I guess, EMS and hospital on different sides from the organization, 'cause, right? I mean, do we want to name them as
Our biggest
entities?
Yes, sorry, Dave.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
My question, and maybe Ty is some more in your wheelhouse, how previous commissions operated. I mean, if we start to get into, and I know what you're saying with each one has a vote, then do we need to have bylaws that spell that all out and how they're gonna operate and what's the commission's?
That's why we're having the
authority?
conversation, trying to make
I
sure.
don't-
Wish Zach would have kept up.
I don't wanna get into
There
weeds, but
be
yet-
something for this.
I mean,
Oh.
what kind of needs to be hashed out, or is it just a commission we appoint and then they all have their own vote?
I bet where the Iowa code that talks about how the supervisors are, I bet it does spell that out a little bit more clearly. Anybody remember what code that is?
Or even, I mean, if you have the commission together, is there, with other commissions, would a vote individually still need to have to be spelled out in some type of bylaws, or are they just a board appointed that have to have consensus to come up with a plan. I mean,
Are we charged with making
I'm just
that?
asking questions.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
it our
Does
charge
this
to do
board do
that?
that or does the
Is
commission
it
do
already?
that?
Yeah, yeah, I don't,
I don't know. Or council, yeah.
or does it already,
SAC.
when
They
it
do it
specifies
themselves.
that the supervisors shall appoint, how that actually is spelled out, if we have the authority to make it be one vote per unit.
Right.
I guess my thought, and maybe I was the one that led the discussion towards the third person, is that it's pretty big deal to get this put on the ballot.
I agree.
Don't want to see it set up for failure, I guess. I thought if there was three people that were largely disconnected from either side,
Right,
it would have to be a better chance of it coming to terms that are palatable to the rest of the public. And when they bring their recommendations to us, we could feel more reassured that I'm not gonna say everything, but most all avenues of approach were looked at and they came up with the best idea. That's how because I mean, it's still up to us to put it on a ballot, and I just don't, it goes on a ballot, I don't wanna see it fail, because
No.
if it fails once, it's gonna be hard for it to ever. And you see that a lot of times with any bond issue or whatever, so. I want the best darn outcome of this that's possible. Right out of the gate.
I do too, and that's why I think we're really trying to look down different paths to make sure that we're doing it the right way, so we
Do I want any more than this on there? No.
wouldn't want to go back and say, gosh, if we would have only had that, because you can be pretty sure that the two people from the EMS is going to be a unit and vote, they're not going to contradict each other on recommendations. Hospital's going to be solid on, so then you have two citizens who, one could go this way and one could go, that could so easily be just right down the middle. And so now we're 3-3 and we got nothing. And then
I will, I'd just like to add, I mean, the reason I didn't want to be part of the picking process is because I never wanted it to look like I had anything to do with any other bias, because I want to see success on this for obviously for the county. And I think that all the entities involved now, I mean, I'm feeling pretty darn, thank you.
You bet.
I think all the entities involved are on the same page there. I think we're gonna have more discussions and less voting than we think. We always gotta, and I appreciate that everybody's looking at the whole picture and taking into account worst case scenario where we would have a debate.
that is worst case scenario.
And Dave, you got something?
Well, I just, my mind kind of goes to, I mean, like Kyle said, and just thinking this through as we talk. If ultimately the supervisors, and Zach, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but whatever plan the commission puts together, then we have to approve and put on the ballot.
Correct.
So then this voting at that point for them and all that, they have to come up with a plan that's palatable for us to put on the ballot.
Right.
So ultimately, we have to say at the end of the day of what they put together. So whether they vote individually or vote by group or however, does that really matter if we approve it?
Yeah.
They ultimately, their job is to come up with a plan that we can push forward on the ballot.
Exactly.
All right.
Nailed it.
Okay,
And I think that we really, I mean, Zach's gonna be there to help advise and run down details for the group and whatever they can, I mean, he's gonna be there for that. I'm just gonna be there to make sure that these meetings run smooth, and make sure that we're always working for a path forward. Basically, I'm bringing the will of this board to that council and help them. Kind of like I've always tried to do, Zach. You can say I've always played the devil's advocate. Whenever they were on a subject, I would always give them the others perspective to it, so that they were considering everything. So now I think having the hospital and everybody there, and I just get a good feeling from the whole thing. I mean, I think they're happy that we're moving in the right direction for EMS. So I think we're going to get good results, and I think you guys, the names that you've already brought up, are going to be great contributors, and they're going to give the public's perspective to this group I think from from the taxpayer's perspective, so I think it's gonna, I'm really feeling more optimistic all the
All
time.
right, good.
Gene, go, sorry.
You're fine. You can't call me. He has to.
Oh. He's reading, so. I'm not trying to do his
I
job.
have coffee this morning.
I've been
You went
accused of
over,
that.
you're kind of feisty.
I don't know. I must have got enough sleep last night. I don't know what's up. The other thing, does it say in those that we should have that advisory position that it seems like something that was just added? Do we have the authority to have a non-voting advisory person actually appointed?
So the advisory council can be made up of whoever. So it's kind of at the will of the counties, essentially. So if you want an advisor from whoever, or if you want any position per se, you can have I think where it comes into play is just the voting members, making sure that the stakeholders that are voting have background knowledge and what's trying to be pushed forward. Yes.
So do you see your role as being at every meeting and being involved in the conversation? Or do you see you more as they have questions similar to what we're doing today, that they would call you? Are you planning on attending all of the meetings?
So my plan will be to attend meetings and then be able to answer questions as they come up. So that way we're not waiting for answers and stuff like that.
But that's not part of your duties as far as your county employee. That doesn't, is that more of a volunteer, or does that go towards your hours of working for the county?
So it's, since this will essentially become like a political campaign, I'll have to separate duties from emergency management and what this is as a volunteer.
Okay.
Now there will be times where both will overlap, obviously.
Fine line.
There will be a fine line, but the majority of the time it will be on a volunteer basis.
Okay. Just kind of.
We talked about that when this first started, him and I said, we gotta make sure that you always separate these, even though this EMS can be part of your EMS.
Well, the questions have been asked to me, so I have to ask them.
Choosing words, I suppose.
Because I can't, as emergency manager, I can't take a position one way or the other. I have to stay biased, just like I can't get involved in political campaigns.
Right.
So I have a letter wrote on my computer that I'll sign once this starts, saying that duties that are conducted under the EMS Advisory Council will be on volunteer time, utilizing personal vehicles and stuff.
Okay, just that question had come up and just wanted to make sure that in the get-go, we understood how that role really is going to work for you.
I will have that signed and anybody can do it. So kind of going back to kind of Dave's question, in 422D, section 1, subsection C, it states the County Emergency Medical Services System Advisory Council established under paragraph B shall recommend to the Board of Supervisors an amount of funding to be specified on the ballot, and if one or more of the taxes are approved at the election, shall annually assess and review the emergency medical services needs of the county and include the results of each review and assessment in an annual report filed with the Board of Supervisors. So essentially, you guys have the final say what goes on the ballot per code.
Got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because from my just looking, it just says the county must create a county EMS advisory council to research needs, guide implementation, and recommend funding amounts to the board.
Correct.
So I don't think the structure, I don't think we need to have any bylaws written by the commission. We have the authority to create the commission. And to me, then I guess we can direct them to any rules that how we want them to play out. If we wanted to do it by group or by individual, I think by individual makes the most sense. So it doesn't seem like we have competing entities there. We have, everybody can think for themselves.
As long as they're following Iowa Code Chapter 21, open meetings, I think
Folder too.
they should be able to conduct themselves accordingly
Right.
without our restraints.
It's on the table.
That's the thing that I don't wanna be, I don't wanna be accused of this board trying to restrain
So you're
that council in any way, shape, or form. That's not my goal. I want that council to be able to work freely, autonomous from this board, even though we put people on there, but we're trying to put clear thinkers on there that don't need advice from this board. This spot.
Right.
No,
So the less amount of restraints or direction that we put forth, I think is the better. Once they meet the first time, they can establish however they want to operate, whatever they want to follow, whatever parliamentary procedures, but as long as they're under Iowa Code 20, Chapter 21, I think perfect, you know. As you as chair say, all right, we got to have a little bit of an organizational meeting here before we get started. And let it roll.
I really don't think it'll take too much.
well, I think that's where my confusion
Right.
comes in, is that
And they've all are
in
part
this
of
letter
meetings, so.
from the
They're all part of
Emergency
meetings,
Medical
most of them
Services, the
regularly.
EMS task force, they've appointed two, which leads us to believe that they vote, because then they come down here and vote non-voting advisor. So if they're all advisory, how do we tell the difference between Zach, who's at every meeting, as advisory, but it doesn't say anything about what are they voting exactly on? You know what I'm saying?
I have no idea what
that-
they'll vote on, but
Well,
what if there's some that comes up that
Where's your
needs to be
crystal ball?
voted on?
Yeah, it's like I said, I think 90% of it's gonna, maybe 99% of it's gonna be discussion.
I agree.
Okay.
And they're gonna do like we do, talk until you decide on what works for us. I mean, I think we're really digging into the weeds, preparing for worst case scenario.
well,
I don't,
I don't.
Zach, to me, the reason I actually asked him to make sure he was there as an advisory was more to help me than Corey and Joe and obviously whoever the hospital's putting on.
Karen and
And Jacob.
Jake.
Jake and Aaron.
This is their wheelhouse. This ain't my wheelhouse, but it's his. And then if he's not interrupting and doing anything to influence what they're discussing, and I'm not, I mean, he can kind of keep me rolling it on the right path to keep everything civil in case there's a better chance you'll have a heated discussion that we got to reel in and maybe even postpone a meeting until everybody gets their blood pressure back down. I mean, there's things that could happen. And to me, them are the worst cases I'm looking at that would interrupt good discussion. That's all I'm after, is good discussion. Anybody that has read Robert's rules knows that's a chair's job, is to promote good discussion within the group. And that's what I'm after here. And then I think that will bring back the best plan for this table.
Right, and I think it's really wise to have Zach not on the commission.
Yeah.
To serve, because Zach has to work with whatever the commission comes up with. That's what Zach has to work with. So we don't want him on there.
Correct.
And I think that's the wise, that's very wise to do that.
And why it was
And,
hardly
what-
worth the time. Because we're gonna.
Yeah,
And I don't think that, since it's a public board, that we're having the input from EMA, the hospital, and the public, that I understand that whatever they come up with comes to this board for approval as to what's going to be on the ballot. I do not foresee this board changing what they come up with.
No, I don't think.
I don't see that as being an issue from a perspective of that's not what I want. No, we want what the people want. And if this is the people's commission and they come up with that, then that's what's going to be probably, I would think guaranteed approved. You're always tentative with that word guaranteed, but that would be approved by this board.
And accuse me of looking at any scenario that might be different than the most positive path. Are they discussing the amount of percentage in the?
Yes,
Is that going to be,
yes.
is that the biggest discussion that's going to be brought
I would
forward?
say that's.
Yes.
the-
Probably.
I would say
Yes.
that is 95% of the discussion. The other 5% is how does it work?
Right, well,
So
And
how do you take that tax levy to associate it to an actual plan that is going to be beneficial for all stakeholders that are involved?
so where I see the difference, just not, good Lord, who doesn't know I have a meeting today?
You always have somebody.
Great, I got it on silent. It's my watch and my other thing. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, where was I? I think the bigger problem is going to be that structure of do we need the revenue to support a new building and 24/7, 365 county
That's what they
employees?
will figure out.
That's
In a nutshell. Or is it going to be more,
I don't think that's gonna really be all that hard. There's all adults in that room. I mean, you look at the EMS people have brought forward, you look at the hospitals brought forward, and you look at the two that you guys have already, and I actually like the third person, and I like how we talked about that third person. You know, I mean, without telling me any of the names, because I don't want to know.
Nope.
But I do know that I like that, including the entirety of Crawford County. And that was why you actually went to that. I think that's brilliant, to be honest with you.
well,
So I think that I know I'm sounding cryptic here and it's intentional, but it's not to be cruel. But I mean, I think that's gonna really help with the conversation. And I think that having everybody at the table to discuss it and
Okay.
come to a, because do you get the impression, I mean, sitting here like I am now, I'm not a voter in the room, that I get the impression that everybody wants to see this happen and wants it to be economic and efficient.
absolutely.
And I mean, I get that, but they want it to serve the future growth of the emergency medical services of Crawford County. I mean, you know, we still talk about the four cardinal directions, having ambulances, volunteer ambulances in the four cardinal directions. How do we improve and help recruit for the full-time staffing at the hospital that we have now? Where do we house the ambulances?
Correct.
Where do we do all those things? That's what this commission is gonna sit down and talk about. And there isn't anything to me that's gonna be super confrontational. There might be some questions. Well, who's paying for this? How's it getting paid for? You know, well, because the hospital's got its own budgets that are separate from tax asking. So I mean, we're gonna have to discuss all those things. And, or not we, I'm gonna let them discuss all these things and just make sure that nobody's throwing a rock at the other side of the table. But, you know, I mean, I really think it's gonna work a lot smoother. I'm glad that we're all looking at this in depth, because you know me, I'm Mr. In the Weeds.
You don't want to say we never thought of
Gene?
that. The thing that comes to my mind is that with this being 15 years, the 75 cents, you can go down, but you can't go up. And knowing that it's gonna go out there for 15 years and not know what it looks like, I think the mistrust of government in general, it'd be hard for people to vote for the 75
That's
cents.
what this
even-
council's gonna have to consider.
And you know Cindy's gonna make sure that's talked about. I
Even though
promise
we
you that.
feel, in the beginning, we only need 25 cents, you know, and we don't know how things will look.
That's all
So
gonna
that's
be-
where I think this is gonna
It's
get.
all gonna be part of the process that they're gonna have to.
That's gonna be
consider.
out of our discussion. That's gonna
I
be
know,
their
I don't
discussion.
believe this advisory.
They will have
council
those
ever-
discussions.
Ever adjourns,
You
does
see
it?
where I'm going.
It's as long as we have EMS as an essential service, this advisory council will exist.
Will exist, exactly.
I mean, we may have different players in it, but this will always exist to scrutinize what's going on with EMS and advise this board.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably something that should be looked up. If we think that it's getting foolish with the spending of their resources, what do we have as a stopgap?
Budget.
Budget.
Right.
And
Funding.
that's, you're exactly,
I know.
you see what I'm saying?
Just because that 75 cents might get voted in, if that's the number,
Yeah.
does not mean that that's the budget.
Right.
Yeah,
It does not mean
Right.
that.
we still have the
You
ultimate.
still have the
stop.
final.
Yeah.
You're the stopgap in
And that's-
that whole process.
Those are the weeds we need to be in to make sure that we are all understanding what's all at stake here. And then it also, there's another part of that, the $1,000.
You're
So
still
just
the
to
final
clarify,
say in the
right,
budget,
Terry's-
regardless if it's EMS budget, regardless if it's my budget, regardless
Gotcha. So if,
regardless the county
so if the
budget.
council, if they would do Gene's scenario and approve 75 cents, but they say the first year we only need 20 cents.
Yeah,
And year two, the advisory council comes to the board of supervisors and say, we need to raise that to 25 cents. They have the authority to do so because they passed 75 cents, but we could say, no, you're not getting
Right,
25 cents.
because
you're
they'll
only
be
getting-"
part of our budgeting process.
Gotcha.
It'll be just like
Okay.
another department budgeting.
I was not aware of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Keep in mind too, there's an annual report that has to be filed from the advisory council to the board of supervisors every year. So I mean, that best practice is to break everything down to a
Okay.
very minute detail of how things are pushed.
And they'll be
Thank
their own fund. They'll be set, kind of like Zach is emergency management. It'll be separate, so they have to also budget in consideration of a fund balance at the end of the year, so they have starting funds. So that'll be the challenge when it begins. They won't have starting funds because we don't actually collect taxes until the month of September, and those are apportioned in October. So unless something
All right.
needs to be discussed at that point, if this actually passes about a loan, maybe?
Yeah, also keep
Or
in
something.
mind that any, similar to emergency management, any funding that is allocated specifically for EMS essentially stays with.
With that fund.
Because you're gonna have to
Yes.
build a reserve just like you do, so that you have to have a
Yes.
budget amendment. That's where it comes.
That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's
So it'll work
only
a lot
funded
like
by that
EMA,
levy.
but it'll be
That
its
levy
own.
will fund it unless they actually, I don't know if there's an opportunity for grant writing for that fund. I don't know. I would imagine so, just like you're able to. But
Just remember,
anyway,
they also
just
have the-
to
sorry.
really get in the
Gene?
weeds, sorry.
I mean, they also can bring with us that, hey, we're gonna fund this X amount with property tax, and we're also gonna use this much for other sales tax option as well. So
Yeah.
Income tax.
Income tax, yeah, so
1%.
1%, so they might, so,
There might be a combination of the two.
Might be.
so, I mean, we can sit here and go,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
else
I got
down in the
it.
rhubarb and then in the horseradish all day long about this. But today is, I'm out naming these people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this group of people that, the 6 names I have wrote down on here so far are more than capable of coming up with
I agree.
with the
With the
kind
plan.
of, with the plan that is going to be palatable to the public.
Or that's why you wanted that little bit bigger group,
Right,
and I
or not,
understand.
Or not,
I get that.
but they're gonna put their best effort together to make the plan palatable to the public.
Mhm.
I feel confident about that.
All right.
I think the diversity
Instead
of
of us
scrutiny on that.
And I hear again, I wanna stay somewhat highly, I mean, they can call me privately and ask a question, but as a board, I think we need to somewhat let them have the range to work.
Correct.
That's my opinion. So to fulfill today's agenda item, do we want to name all 6 of these today and maybe bring a 7th one next week? Or do we want to wait till next week?
I
We
guess-
can name all 7 of them.
I don't think it matters. I don't see a point, I guess, and it doesn't. To name 6 if we don't have a full board, I think we should
We
just
could
name
get
the
6
full board.
together, and if they wanted to start convene, we could get.
Do we want the
that
6 to
started.
meet before we name them a 7th? That doesn't, I guess,
Well,
I
hope
don't,
that our
I think the
seventh will be
7th
by
is
next
real
week.
close. It could be yet this afternoon,
So,
well, it won't be publicly
No, I know.
named and approved.
but I
by
think
this
that we need to
afternoon.
decide if we want it to be 6 or 7 and at least get that out
I think
there.
that's
But
7.
that's-
Here again, I just,
I think we wanted it 7.
We have a discussion, take action, so we can
So we
today.
can
make-
either discuss
Yeah.
or take action. We
I
don't
think
have
you
to
should
do
make
both.
sure that you understand, make it clear. You know, that third person, so that somebody don't think you're trying to stack. it.
yeah, we're not trying to stack
No.
it.
Exactly.
It's for the more diverse of the community, diversity of the community. To get because ultimately, this commission has got to form a plan that is palatable to the entire voting segment of Crawford County. So the better group that these 4 from 2 from the hospital and 2 from the ambulance has to talk to and answer them questions to, the better chance they have for success. So that's why when you guys brought that up to me, yeah, that's actually a great idea, you know? So I mean,
Here again,
it's helping them. It ain't hurting anybody.
I'm
It
not
isn't
setting it
gonna
up
be.
for failure. I want to set it up for success.
Thank you. And that's what we really
Good
need,
point.
yeah.
No.
So any other
I don't really think it's
ones
even
you
gonna
have
take us
today
that
are
long.
confirmed?
Okay, I,
Let's, maybe
It
just
doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter.
at least
I have to
by
stay
doing
on
that
this.
today, we could get the council Staff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a motion that the advisory board would be comprised of 7.
And you want to name the 6 members
That we have
currently?
confirmed.
What's
That
that?
we have confirmed that we'll do it.
We could name those.
You want to name the 6
Uh,
of the 7?
Yes, it is Corey Gaskill, Joe Gordon, Aaron Muck, Jacob,
Archer.
what's last name?
Archer.
Archer, Cindy Crudoff, and
Roger King.
Roger Kinkle. And the 7th person is
To be named
To be
next week,
named
in the
next
wings
week.
waiting to.
or be approved next week.
And if they decide to, I mean, they're gonna have.
Is there a
to work
second?
Good.
Second.
Second by Kyle, discussion. Yeah, go ahead.
If
Ty.
they, thanks, appreciate that, Mr. Chair.
Doing good.
You know how my schedule works, so, and I don't think they're gonna have trouble working with that. And, I hope not anyway. But, I think that even if you would name that person sooner than next week and we decide to have a meeting on Monday or Friday night or something like that, I think it'd be good that, you know, that person could show up. Cause there's not gonna, it's just gonna be a plans, an organizational meeting. It ain't gonna be a meeting that's starting to decide anything.
Right.
See what I'm getting at?
Right, right.
So I think that if they
Everybody has to
showed
have
up,
a first meeting.
and it's already gonna have, you know, you guys are gonna, you know, discuss things, not as a group, but individually, one-on-ones, you know, hey, I found this person.
Mhm.
Right? But, so I don't think that'd be a trouble, you know. If that's, to help get this thing rolling. I mean, I know they're all wanting to get her going.
I mean, and I think from your standpoint as the chair is you're gonna be needed the most at that first meeting.
Oh, yeah.
To set, I guess, structurally, how are we gonna go about doing this? What, you know, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I think this is to build, it's simple, it's to build the perfect EMS system. Please don't strike me down for saying perfect and that, but to build the best EMS.
Best for Crawford County.
Yeah.
Best for
We
Crawford
can do
County.
it.
And, you know, like I said, I would love when this is done and this gets set up and established, that everybody in the state is calling us.
Because I think there have been 20 counties that have passed EMS,
25.
25 that have passed EMS. And I will bet that there are 25 different plans
Yeah.
and 25 different tax rates
Yeah.
as to how they do it, because
That's
it's
on the board.
all done specifically for that county. And that's why I think it's just vitally important that this commission, and they will, because the people that we just named on there are gonna have Crawford County as the sole, you know, entity that we need to serve. We need to serve this county. How do we do this county as best as we can?
I guess.
I have all the confidence in the world that that group will do
Enough counties get this done, the state will swoop in
that.
Oh, Kyle.
All right,
and.
the
that way
state
they
will,
can-
the
they
state
can
will
collect the
swoop
tax
in
dollars
and run it,
and disperse
but
the
they'll
tax.
keep the property tax rate the same.
Yeah, they'll swoop in, take credit for it, grab the tax dollars and give it
Right,
back
you,
to us.
in one aspect, you wish that the state would look at how the counties go about doing this and saying, man, we should allow the counties to do this, you know, on more things, right?
And then
I
we,
think
Take it
they
out of
have.
state control into county control.
I think they have mental health, public health, have all been originally started. and
Historically, they
managed
were all done by the counties.
And operated smoothly. And the state gets involved and the train starts to run off the tracks.
Schools were all done by the counties
So
before the state
I'm not
stepped in.
capable of running much more than a one-room schoolhouse, though, so we're all having it done at Terry's.
So questions have been called for by Gene. All those in favor say aye. Chair votes aye, motion carries.
We'll have it on the agenda next
Thank you.
week.
What's that? And Carrie, I'm sure you put that on the agenda for next week, right?
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you. for-
publicly, I mean, I don't know if they're all here, but thanks for those that volunteered
Good point.
to step up and serve on this council. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to tell how many meetings they'll have. It'll certainly be more than that initial one.
Now, will they,
And what's the kind of the timeframe, Zach, that it needs to come to us for approval to get it on the fall election?
So I believe that, I mean, I don't know exactly what the dates
Right up there.
are for
I can't read
on the election or on the ballot. I think it's in September timeframe. I think it's-
What do you see, Gene?
isn't that what the timeline of when we have to have it done by? I can't read it. Here, I got my glasses on.
Are you talking about this up here?
Yes.
So that one's off a little bit just because of the public hearing dates,
Yeah.
since we had to readjust.
I thought we got back on track.
But we should be back on track for, what's that final date on there, Ty?
11, well, there's.
No, that's last year. 127, 210, 124. We're going. The last date's 211. Yeah, this thing's really off.
That's not it. So will these meetings be, we have to publish them and post them and all that? Open
Public
meetings? And will the public be able to come if they so desire
To our meeting.
to your meetings to hear what's going on?
Yeah, we won't have any impromptu. We'll have to.
Okay,
I would also highly recommend setting some sort of bylaws for the council to clarify voting responsibilities, if there will be responsibilities of voting. Names like me as an advisor is a non-voting member. Part of the voting members, so on and so forth.
I guess, Ty, is that something that you want to research by contacting, work with?
I mean, I don't think that, there's nothing stating that it is, but it just provides more transparency that these.
Or it makes you think you should contact Colin and then contact Shelby County has done this already, right?
Shelby, Ida,
You know, contact one of those counties and see what they had to do for open meetings laws. Minutes, if you need to name a secretary, you know, that sort of stuff.
I would assume with it being a public board, that it would
Right,
fall under.
right, all the open meetings laws that every board has.
need to be some record.
Yeah, yeah, just because one county didn't do it, doesn't mean that we can't do it ourselves, and if we're more transparent.
No, I think
I
that's probably what we need to do at that first meeting.
I texted Roger's number,
Roger.
Kinkle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, we'll move on then. Thank you, everybody. Liquor license from M&M Golf and Country. Moved by Dave,
second.
second by Gene. Any further discussion? Not. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
If Dave couldn't get a drink when he went golfing.
I golfed out there a lot too. It'd be shame if I could do that.
I'm not a golfer, but I know they enjoy their beer.
So, citizens input, we don't have anybody in person. Anybody out there in Zoom land have anything they'd like to bring before the board? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
It's moved by Dave,
Second.
second by Gene. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
I'll see you that day.
No.